Wrestling fans around the corner and around the world, I'm the Big Fat Well.
And I'm the rocker, Marty Jannetty.
And in about 10 seconds, we'll be talking about 90s wrestling straight out of Melrose.
It's going to be a rockin'... Who let the little kids into the studio?
Cut! Cut!
Wrestling fans, now you too can look as cool as Monty and the Pharaoh by wearing the official Monty and the Pharaoh sunglasses at night for $8.99 each. That's only $8.99 each. Now available at montyandthepharaoh.com. Punk.
What? Yeah. No, I'm behaving myself. No, I'm not playing in abandoned buildings. What? Again? Now. I suppose you had those people follow me again. Fine. Hey, this is Jimmy Farrow from Monty and the Pharaoh, and I want to thank all our subscribers. We have now passed 14,000 on our YouTube channel. But I want to ask our subscribers to take the next step for us and become a full-fledged member of Monty and the Pharaoh. Yeah, that's right, folks. There's 3 different levels to choose from. There's free shirts, there's free autographs. Just check it out and become a member of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh. Later.
Fake news. Boston wrestling is fake news.
Holding it together, just like a desert flower, waiting on the rain to come. And all I know is annualized confusion. And what I'm saying is you don't realize what this means. Have we seen our finest hour? Good times surely will come. Just like a desert flower, waiting on the rain to come.
Hello, this is WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. And once again, I'm here to tell y'all a little bit about being a wrestler back in the olden days.
Why don't you tell them where we are, brother? We're out
Right
noise.
now, Larry, you notice a lot of talking. Larry just reminded me where I'm at. Sometimes I forget where the hell I'm at. But right now, we're at the celebration the first Comic-Con done at the Ramada Inn here in Lewiston, Maine, right here on Pleasant Street. We got people from Marvel Comics and DC Comics all here selling their merchandise. I just got through selling a couple of merchandise, so this is the first Comic-Con that they did here at Celebration, right here in Lewiston, Maine, at the Ramada Inn. You know, I was talking earlier in some earlier shows, to be a wrestler back in my day, it took more to just be a wrestler. I mean, we had a lot of guys that were big and strong, tough guys, could wrestle anywhere, could do anything. But when you put the name on the billboard, they didn't draw money. Then when you put Hulk Hogan name on the billboard, he drew money. It was just something about people like Hulk Hogan that really, really had what you call drawing power, the power to draw fans. Not mean that Hogan was not a good wrestler, that Hogan was not good at what he did. In fact, he was a good wrestler, but he had something. He had a little bit extra. You take like a Dusty Rhodes, for example. Dusty Rhodes didn't do no drop kicks. Dusty Rhodes didn't do no head scissors. Didn't jump off the top rope. But Dusty Rhodes could draw more people to an arena than what a Rey Mysterio of the day do. And Rey could do everything in the world, but he didn't have the drawing power or the charisma that a Dusty Rhodes had, or like what I was saying earlier, like what a Hulk Hogan would particularly have. And one of the things that about wrestling that made it that way, everybody had a different character. I mean, you know, you must have heard me say this 1,001 times. We was crazy as hell. Well, I want to take that back. We were not crazy as hell. We are crazy as hell. There were things that I did that I knew was crazy, and for some odd reason, I ain't stopped yet, Larry. I still do crazy things because a wrestler, he would wake up the next morning. Like I said, we didn't have entertainment back in the day. We didn't get to go to movies. We didn't get to go to watch television. We didn't get to go to the park. We didn't go and do this simple thing that people did because we had to create our own entertainment. Well, I hear CM Punk talk about it. I hear what is his name, Honky Tonk Man talk about it. Yeah. I hear a lot of wrestlers from the time talk about one thing. And the one thing they all used to talk about is Tony Atlas having a foot fetish. First of all, I do not have a foot fetish. Let's get it straight. Like I said, oh, we're Tony like girls in high heels. When I see a woman in high heels, what I think about is going to church because I'm raised up in the country. So the only time a woman put on a pair of high heels in my day was she went to church. So when I see a woman in high heels, I think about going to church. Now, some of the things that they said that I do was not true. I mean, it make a good story, as Mad Dog Vashon would say. If a story is worth telling, it's worth embellishing. Tony Atlas' main thing was not high heel. Tony Atlas' main thing was with sneakers. There it is right there. And like I said, you have to be tough. I didn't just look at the sneakers. The sneakers didn't just step on me. What I used to do, I'd come to the room, and don't y'all get scared now, and give it to me, girl. Boom, 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 boom. Ain't that wonderful? Whoa! Oh, I'm gonna give you some more of that. Yo, hold on. She gonna do it again. Now watch it. Give it to me, girl. Boom, 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 boom. Woo! Now I don't want none of y'all get jealous out there. I want all y'all to go home.
Don't worry.
Look at your.
Don't worry about it, Tony. No, I won't be jealous, kid.
I want y'all to go home. I want all y'all to go home. Get your wife some nice sneakers now. You can't get her any type of sneaker. You have to get the special sneaker there. We're going to put them up there. You got to have these here. You see there? These are the sneakers you got to have right here. And with these, she could stomp on you. She could punch you in the jaw. She could step on you. These are the sneakers. Look at them one. See, that's one leg. Now look at the other one. Two of them. See, they ain't that pretty. Have you ever seen anything look so good? Now, these sneakers here are for one reason and one reason only. They is for giving you a, ah. See that? Look at that. Oh, boy. Woo!
Don't wear those. You don't wear
Now
those
you
in the
know.
street, do you, Tony?
No, you don't wear them in the street now. No, 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 no,
No.
no. These shoes never seen the outside door because once you get on the outside, you know, you get kicked in the face, but you know, when you lift the shoe off, you got dog poop, rocks and gravel and everything else in your face. But that was something I always enjoyed. I'm not ashamed of it. At one time, I used to hide. A lot of guys would hide what they like. And the thing about pro wrestling did for me, especially, they made us be a little bit open about who we are. You know, you hear a lot of stories. Well, I hear this guy used to do this. I hear this guy used to do that, and this and that. But here in today's time, things are better now in some ways, not in all ways. I mean, you can't make jokes like we did back in the day, but in some way, things is a lot better because people are a little bit more open about what they likes are, and
And they're more tolerant.
and yeah, and people are more tolerant. I was reaching out there, I can't think of his name, but with this one wrestler, I used to wrestle with him in 2008. And then a guy showed me something on the computer the other day. Rex Tyler. Rex Tyler? Well, he was a big, strong, 6'4" built guy. Rex Tyler had the dreadlocks.
Oh,
Yeah,
Tyler Rex.
Tyler Rex. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Tyler Rex. Well, now he just came out, and you know he's a transgender. But during the time, like during the time where Pat Patterson was wrestling, Pat Patterson could not come out and tell the general public that he was gay. It was like they pick a certain image of a wrestler, and being gay was not an image that the promoter wanted to promote. So he, for years and years and years, Pat had to keep this a secret. Then in Legend House, which a lot of the wrestlers already knew, but in Legend House, Pat finally came out and explained about what he was all about, which I had no problem with, and that was a good thing about being a pro wrestler in my time. We all had our hangs up. Mans was a sleeker, another guy was high heels, another guy just had, everybody has something that they like. And we would ride up down the road, we would talk about it. Like I was riding with SD Jones, and SD was funny. I love him. SD would come in, hey, boss man, boss man, boss man, look at the shoes, boss man. Look at the shoes, boss man. She got the nice shoes. She got the nice shoes. You like the shoes, boss man? Yeah, yeah, boss man, boss man. That was SD Jones. You know what I'm saying? Hacksaw Jim Duggar used to come up and say, hey, you don't want me to take your shoes off wearing that guy. So all the guys had different things that they liked, but the thing about being a wrestler, nobody criticized nobody because everybody had their own little hang up, their own way of entertaining. Another guy, he may go back to the room at night, get a fifth of whiskey, and he would drink whiskey and eat cheese and stuff like that. Another guy was into drinking wine. Another guy was into drinking beer. Just about everybody drank something, but nobody made fun of you for what you did. So it gave us a chance to be more and more open, and I think what that did would help us to get into our characters more. Because I asked the promoter a long time ago, I said, what image, what gimmick should I get? He said, Tony, just give it time, you will come into your own. Like, of all the people that was born on this planet, from the beginning of time, there have never been one person to have the same fingerprint or the same DNA. And we used to say wrestling is the only sport on the earth that is for real. What we meant by that, our character was not fake. If you ever meet Ric Flair, I say this 1,000 times, the same Ric Flair you saw on television, that was the same Ric Flair we saw in the dressing room, the same Ric Flair we saw at restaurants. He became that character. He became Ric Flair. People ask me in the gym, because I still lift pretty heavy, Tony, why you lift such heavy weight? Well, that's Tony Atlas. I told him, I said, I got to be Tony Atlas. I can't come to a wrestling event without the gun. They're not as big as they used to be, but people expect to see Tony Atlas with the gun. That's what people expect to see. They want to see some muscle on me. They don't want me to show up and have absolutely no muscle. That's my character. I'm being myself. You take like the Freebird. They didn't act. Andre the Giant was his character. Andre did not fake who he was. The Muda, that was her. She didn't fake who she was. Even the Ultimate Warrior. If you met the Ultimate Warrior in wrestling, if you met the Ultimate Warrior out of wrestling, he was the same person. He was the same person that you saw in the arena. Nothing changed about these guys. Today, what have changed is that you have the wrestler, but they are not able to be themselves. You have a writer that they would call, and they would write the script of how they want you to be. They would tell you how to wrestle, they tell you how to talk. And when I got with Marty and the Pharaoh, I said, Marty, what I like to do is do the interview, do a talk show the way we did it when wrestling was wrestling. The promoter would come out and say, Tony, I want you to do a 30-minute promo. You're going to wrestle Hillbilly Larry Huntley. And that's all he would tell me. Then I had to get out there and just cut a promo. You know, just right off the top of my head. There was no paper, no script, no nothing. I had to just do this 30-minute promo. So I would come out and, Larry Huntley, you let me tell you something. I wrestle all over the United States. I wrestle all over the world. And let me tell you something, brother. You're a tough guy. You won a lot of matches. You defeated a lot of great wrestlers. But when I get you in Madison Square Garden on the 30th of this month, I'm going to give you the wrestling lesson of your life. Boom. That was it. The promoter would say, oh, great, put it in the can. And that's how we used to do our interview. Now, if I should go back to WWE, they give me a piece of paper. They say, Tony, this is what I want you to say. Then I would get in the ring. They would say, Tony, this is not what I want you to do. In my day, they said, Tony, you're going to wrestle against The Undertaker. We want 15 minutes out of it. And Undertaker is going to go over. Going over means he's going to win. I said, okay. So me and Undertaker, we don't have a word between us. He's in one dressing room, I'm in the other dressing room. So it's impossible for us to communicate with each other. We can't communicate with each other. So what we have to do is, when we get in the ring, we did what you call ad lib. You do it as you go. But it was three people involved. I wouldn't say people. It was the two wrestlers and the audience. And what we did back in the old days, we tried to get the audience to participate, become part of the match. That's why we did old tricks like a guy would pull my hair. Well, not now he won't pull my hair. He would pull my beard now. But back then, when I had hair, a guy would pull my hair. I would get up, say, referee, this guy pulled my hair. And then he'd pull my hair again. I would come up and I would draw back. But before I punch him, I would turn to the people and say, should I hit him? The people would say, if I get a third of the people go, yeah, hit him. So I wouldn't hit him. Only a third want me to do it. So then he pulled me down again. I get up again. Should I hit him? Then I got half of the people say, yeah, hit him. So I go back down again. The third time I come up, for some reason everything worked good on three. I would say, should I hit him? Almost the whole audience said, hit him, hit him. Then I nailed it. By doing that, we got a cheer every time because I involved the people in the match. You know, we should get the people involved, like the bad guy would come out, like George Two-Turn Harris. He would come out, and the place is so quiet, you can hear a rat piss on cotton. I mean, this quiet, almost like being in church. Oh, George Harris would go over to the ring, go to, oh, shut up out there. Ain't nobody saying nothing, but he would holler, shut up out there. Well, as soon as he says, shut up out there, the whole place, because he's a bad guy, they wasn't going to listen to him. So they started cheering. Just because he told them to shut up, they started talking. So wrestlers knew the ways of getting the people involved in the match. And that's what made wrestling so much different than what it is now, because it took the involvement of the fan. We just didn't go out there and just did our own thing and didn't think about how the fan felt about it. So you had to work in my day, you had to work with the people, you know. And some of the guys sometimes didn't learn how to do that. And he was a guy that really didn't draw a lot of money. Like what Hulk Hogan would do when he get ready, he feel the people want to cheer for him, he would just walk over. The first guy I see doing it was Dusty Rhodes. The first guy I saw done this, what I'm going to show you now, was Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes would put his hand like this, go to this crowd, and go to this crowd. And every time we do that, these people would cheer, these people would cheer. And then he would do both ends, and the whole place would cheer. Now once you get all the people to cheer like that, what Dusty would do, that's when he would do his thing. But now he got the people involved. You got the people behind it. And that's what made the wrestling a little bit more entertaining, where the people could become part of the show. And today, everything, like I said, is done by writers. They go to college, they get a degree in different creative writing and stuff. And then they would come to me. They won't talk to me about anything. So my character would never get to be involved in the match now, you know. So a lot of guys, they have different ways of getting themselves over with the people. One of the hardest gimmicks in pro wrestling to do, probably right now today, was wearing a mask. Because if somebody got an armbar on me, I could sell it with my face. My facial expression, like ah. I can show the people I'm in pain through my facial expression. Now, if you wear a mask, a guy is doing your arm, you don't have the facial expression. That's been eliminated. So wrestlers that wear a mask, they have to sell with their body. One of the best in my day was a wrestler called Mr. Wrestling #2. Used to wrestle at Rubberman Johnny Walker. And he was, what you call it there, when you was real flexible, double jointed.
Oh, yeah.
Like double jointed. I mean, he could put his leg behind his neck. You know, he was just double jointed. You could twist his arm all the way around. It wouldn't hurt him because, you know, he wasn't called double jointed. Well, he wrestled for years and years and years as Johnny Rubberman Walker, Johnny Walker. And then he got this break in Georgia where he's going to wrestle Tim Woods, who was Mr. Wrestling #1. And they brought Mr. Wrestling #2 in to be a bad guy, a heel. Well, what ended up happening, he got his break by accident because what ended up happening was Wrestling 2 got unmasked by a fan accidentally and got his finger bit off, which right away they started pushing Wrestling 2. But he was in later years when he got his break. He was almost in his late 40s or so, you know, when he got his first break in pro wrestling. So sometimes a wrestler would get his break very early, like I did. You know, I was very lucky that 2 years into the business, I was what you call a main eventer. Wrestler 2 was in the business for 12 years before he got his break. Tasmania, 14 years before he got his break. So,
Tasmaniac.
yeah. By the time he got his break, he was in the business for about 15 years. Tommy Dreamer, he didn't get his break right off the bat. He was in the business for 5 or 6 years, maybe even as long as 10 before ECW came along when he got his break. 'Cause I met Tommy Dreamer back in the late 80s, early 90s. We were working for ICW, International Championship Wrestling. He was on his way up, him and the Patriot, Tom Brandon, and the Tasmania with him and his brother. And these guys were trying to make a reputation for themselves. You take Cactus Jack. He didn't get a break right off the bat. He wrestled 3 or 4 years before he even got a break, got his first break. But I wrestled him in '89. And then about 2 or 3 years later, he went to WCW and became a big star as Captain Jack. So for some wrestlers, they call them like shooting stars. They go to the top of the heat right away. Then you got other wrestlers that they take years and years and years and years and years from to get top. Hulk Hogan, for example. I wrestled Hulk Hogan in the late '70s, '78. no break. 79, no break. 1980, no break. He didn't get his break until the Rocket movie came out, which was what,
82.
82 or something. So, you know, when you look at probably that 85 or something.
No, it had to be before that.
No, he wasn't champion in 82 because me and Rocky won the belt then. Backlund was still champion. Because me and Rocky won the
Yeah,
belt
but
is 82. Yeah, but he was there, but he was putting over. I know I beat him in 81.
no. He went to AWA and was got a break there.
Yep,
And then Vince hired him in 83.
83. Yeah, so you see, uh, it took Hogan a while to get to where he's at. Brandon Savage, even though his father was a big star for many years, Randy didn't get his break until the late 80s, early 90s. And he was around for years and years and years. I even got a booklet I was looking at, the Georgia Championship Wrestling, where Randy Savage was a preliminary guy. He was on the bottom of the card, you know, and I see guys that Dino Bravo and all these guys, it was like in the 70s, these guys was like on the bottom. So it took a rest of anywhere between 5 to 10 years before they became a main eventer. As I said earlier, I was kind of lucky because of my physique. The promoter started pushing me to the top at a very young age. So if you got my book, I put in my book, Too Much Too Soon. That came from a wrestler by the name of Wahoo McDaniel. George Scott was talking about making me Mid-Atlantic champion. I only been there for 3 years. They want to make me champion. And Wahoo said, you're pushing them too fast, George. You're giving them too much too soon. Most of the time before a wrestler made it, older they made over $1,000, they have been wrestling for 3 or 4 years before they start making that type of money. I made $1,500 my first week as a pro wrestler. And that was my smallest week. So in other words, I got spoiled. Everything came to me so easily that I started taking things I took it for granted, to be honest with the people out there. And, I didn't appreciate it because it just came too quickly. I mean, 2 years in the business, by 1976, 77, I was a main eventer. And I worked main event everywhere I went. I walk into Texas, I'm a main eventer. California, main eventer. AWA, main eventer. NWA, main eventer. WWF, main eventer. Everywhere I went, it was always, I was always, top of the card. And I feel over the years, it may have caused, in fact, I know it did, cause a lot of animosity among wrestlers that have paid their dues. Imagine you work a job for 10 years. You at work every day. You know the program. You're never late. You never complain. All of a sudden, one day, this young kid walks through the door and becomes your boss. He don't know how the system works. He don't know anything about the job. You got all the experience, put in all the time. But here this kid is getting this nice fat check, and you've been around all the time busting your butt, and you didn't get the promotion that you probably felt you rightfully deserved. Well, wrestling is no different than any other job. There was a lot of wrestlers that I know for a fact, they told me out of their own mouth, that they had some animosity towards me because they felt that I didn't earn the title. In fact, I hear talk in the dressing room about Hulk Hogan when they made Hogan the champion after all these years. They said, well, there's a lot of other guys. What about Jimmy Snuka? What about Pedro Morales? What about this guy? They start naming all these other guys that should have been there. But the problem with me, Jimmy Snuka, and all the guys, we was good draws. I mean, we drew good money, but we couldn't sell out every arena. We couldn't put the butts in the seats like Hogan could. We didn't have the charisma that Hulk Hogan did. I hear people talk about Dusty Rhodes. Because Dusty Rhodes was a chubby guy. He had no build, no muscles or nothing. But when you put Dusty Rhodes on the car, especially in Florida and Georgia, down south during that time, I mean, y'all saw him up here on the WWF, but I knew Dustin
That
before
was
we
at the
came.
end of the road.
Yeah, that was the end of Larry Manning. That was the end of our Dustin career. But if you ever saw Dustin in a Terry Funk or Harley Race, even Ric Flair, if you ever saw Ric Flair in his heyday, the first question that came to your man was Ric Flair was the greatest wrestler, greatest entertainer of all time. There was nothing Ric Flair could not do in the ring and outside the ring. You know, he was tough. You know, one thing I say 1,000 times, I can get in a fight with Larry Huntley. Larry is a wrestler. If I lose a fight with Larry Huntley, it's no big deal. But if I got in a fight with a wrestling fan or a spectator and I lose the match, the promoter will fire me. Because people seeing us as being the toughest guys walking the face of the earth. And we was looking at that being big, rugged, tough. Killer Kowalski, Ox Baker. You know, these guys, they even look like monsters. You know, Mad Dog Vachon, these guys. Bob Orton Sr. You know, they was like rugged guys. So when they see a wrestler, the first thing they thought, you don't want to fight a wrestler. He's a professional wrestler. You don't want to fight him. So the last thing a wrestler want to do is get into a fight with a guy that's not a professional fighter and lose a match. It's kind of like Mike Tyson going to a bar and getting beat up by the bouncer. I mean, it's very hard to call Mike Tyson heavyweight champion of the world when there's a bouncer, in Lewis and Maine that can whoop his butt. Well, it was the same thing in wrestling. It was very hard for me to be Mid-Atlantic champion or WWE Tag Team champion with the Rock Father, Rocky Johnson, and then go to a local bar and get whooped. So what I did, I made sure that I kept myself in the best shape possible. I made sure that there was nobody stronger than me. And what I used to do to make sure that my strength was more than other people's strength, what I would do is I would compete against other athletes. So when most wrestlers would go to the gym and work out, I would go to the gym and work out, but then I would look on, they used to put these flyers up on the wall. So I look on the wall and I would see, oh, they're going to have the New York Powerlifting Championship. I'm going to go to that. See, I never trained for a contest. Never trained for a contest. I stayed in shape year round. I was like an early version of Tom Brady. Brady is the way Brady is, because Brady never let Tom Brady get out of shape. In the off season, Tom Brady works out. A lot of athletes the off season off and just relax, and then they come when they get close to season, they would work to get back into shape. A lot of bodybuilders would let themselves get out of shape, not totally out of shape, but then when it come contact, they would get in shape for it. A lot of powerlifters, they started training for contact. Me, I would go into town on a Friday. The poster be up on the wall. There's a contest Saturday. I would sign up that Friday to compete the next day. Because every day I went to the gym, every Monday and every Thursday, I did bench press. And I would take 500 pounds. And I would try to get as many reps as I can. The most I ever did, I used to do 500 for 5 reps. Then I would rest for 2 minutes, do it for another 5 reps. And I would try to get 25 reps with 500 pounds. Now I started moving up later in my career where I would go up to 550 and get 3 to 4 reps with 550. When I was able to get 5 reps with 550, that's when I started going to the contest. But I knew as long as I was able to do 500 pounds for reps, I could win most any powerlifting meet I went to. Back in them days, if you bench press 500 pounds, that was a lot of weight because they didn't have shirts. Now you see they got the lifting shirt. Now I was in a contest here in Lewis and Maine. In fact, it was right here in this building where we're at now at the Ramada Inn. Russ Barlow, the local promoter and the local powerlifter here, he put on a contest. And I was lifting against a guy. The first attempt, I did 500 pounds. Where the guy that lifted against me, he did 500 pounds. Then we went to 550. I did the 550. The guy that was with me, he took the 550 off. He brought it down. His shirt ripped. The weightlifting shirt.
Did you wear one? Were you
I
wearing
never
it?
wore a shirt. I
Okay.
never wore a shirt. His shirt lift. So now he got to lift without the bench press shirt. He bring that weight down. That weight never left his chest. See, these shirts, if you got like a 500-pound bench, with the shirts, you could do maybe anywhere between 50 to 100 pounds more than what you could do. They assist you. In fact, some of the shirt, a guy bought a shirt one time and had me to help the spot him. He had 400 pounds on. He take the 400 pounds off, he bring it down to here. The weight won't go down no more. He had to pull it down to his chest. I had to push the weight down to his chest because the shirt is so tight. It couldn't touch his chest. Couldn't touch it. But as soon as you put it down to the chest,
Pop up.
from here to here, you not lifting. This is how much you not lifting. So you got a shirt on, this is all the lift you got to do. That's the lift. The shirt is doing the rest. Then they came out with a squat suit. Whereas the lower you go, the tighter the suit gets, we give you a resistance to come up out of that pocket. I never used none of that. I used to lift in a tank top, so I did all my benching raw. Now I probably could have did over 700 pounds if I used a shirt. But I always felt if you use a shirt, you didn't lift that. Not all of it. You take guys to Ted RC, they did 700 pounds. But I work out with Ted RC. His maximum bench without a shirt was a little bit over 600. But with that shirt, he could do 100 pounds more with that shirt. I always felt that was cheating. Guys used to wrap the knees and wrap the elbows. And we used to call all that stuff. We call all that stuff cheating. We said that person is cheating. Because you're using it using a system. So that's how come I was able to compete in both wrestling, bodybuilding, and powerlifting all at the same time. At the beginning, around September, the beginning of the year, I would go into a powerlifting contest because then I would bulk up to put on the side. And then when I feel myself getting too bulky, I look for a bodybuilding contest to go to, and I would go on a 6-week diet. And for 6 weeks before the contest, all I would eat is meat, veggies, and fruit. No pasta, no rice, no. If it wasn't green, I wouldn't eat it. I ate salads, I ate collard greens, I ate kale, green beans, cabbage, carrot. But I wouldn't eat potatoes. I wouldn't eat a potato.
Carbohydrate.
It was too much, yeah. Because you get it's carbs in everything you eat. So I would not eat no nothing that was fattening. And the only liquid that I used to drink, I had my coffee in the morning, and all day long, the only thing I would drink was water. I love my beer, but if it's a bodybuilding contest coming up, the one thing I wouldn't do is drink beer. I wouldn't drink no beer because that beer would put that water weight on me and everything, and I didn't want that water weight on me. So it was very, very strict. Now after the contest was over with, believe it or not, what I had after every bodybuilding contest,
A bottle of beer?
no,
No, what'd you have?
banana split. That was my reward. When I won the Mr. USA contest, went out to this diner, and we had banana split. And that's what we used to get all the time to bulk up because you start craving it. You have a craving for all this stuff. That's why even now, I don't know if they still do it, but a lot of the bodybuilders, they would have what you call a junk food day. You know, a day of nothing but junk food. So we would go out, we go to McDonald's, we go to Burger King, we go everywhere we get everything that is fat. A lot of ice cream you get put away with, a lot of cakes, and we just would scoff down. But then we do that for about a day or two, but then it's right back to the resume. When I was traveling with Rocky Johnson, Rocky, as y'all know, was in very good shape too. He was also into bodybuilding and heavy lifting. We used to go to like Kentucky Fried Chicken, and we ordered chicken breast, and we would pull the skin off of it, pull all the skin off it, and just pull the white meat out of it, and all we ate was the white meat of the chicken or something like that. Alvin Husky, he would get a dozen of eggs and boil them, a dozen of boiled eggs, pure around his bag, and ounce. And he would take the egg, open it up, take the yolk out, throw the yolk away, and just eat the white part of the egg. Then another thing we did when they the tuna fish. We buy that tuna fish that in water, not in the oil and not in no salt nothing. We take that tuna fish and we eat that tuna fish straight out the can. So it was either meat. I used to have a steak every morning. Every morning I used to have my T-bone steak. Then I would have my egg whites and T-bone steak. That was my breakfast. And then I make myself a big bowl of fruit. I cut up cantaloupes and everything else in that bowl, and that was what I had. And then for lunch we would have tuna fish, uh, chicken, and a salad. For dinner it was pretty much the same thing: chicken or turkey. I usually like turkey at the end of the day because with turkey, uh, for some reason you get sleepy with turkey. It's something in turkey that makes you sleepy. I can't think of the name of it right now, but if you ever notice after Thanksgiving dinner you feel like going to sleep, turkey will make you sleepy. So I try not to eat turkey during the day because it make you sleepy. But our diet was very important. You know what you put into the body is going to show how the body looks. Now Arnold Schwarzenegger, he would go to the butcher. He'd go to the butcher, and he would buy steaks and have him to grind the steaks up. And he made his own hamburger. So, and that's what Arnold used to do. I worked out with Charles Glass, Mike Christian. I never trained with Arnold Schwarzenegger, but what happened was I trained at Gold's Gym. Well, for y'all that don't know nothing about body, the Gold Gym started with a guy called Joe Gold. Joe Gold started Gold Gym. Well, when he sat over to Pete Gronkowski, the deal was that he could not open another gym up using the name Gold. So Joe Gold started World Gym. And so Arnold went to World Gym when he worked out on time. He would come by, Gold, say hi to everybody, make jokes and everything. He was a good natured guy, very good natured guy. He loved to laugh at jokes. So he was kind of like Muhammad Ali. Ali liked to joke a lot and make jokes. Make people laugh. And Arnold Schwarzenegger is just like Muhammad Ali. They love to make people happy. So he would do anything to bring a smile on your face, or to make you or to make you happy. And I learned a lot from these guys over the years. I just wish that a lot of stuff that I learned earlier in my career. Like I always had a hard time developing my calves. So I asked Arnold one time, how did he develop his calf? He just told me, if you notice, your calf push up all day long. They push up. They do concentric movement. When you push it, that's concentric. When the weights are coming for you, that's eccentric, negative. He said, try doing negative. So you go up on your calf, you hold it for 2 seconds. You take 6 to 8 seconds coming down. So you come up at any speed you want, but you come down slow. Well, my calves within a year went from 16 and a half inches to 18 inches around, which for my height, that was still a small calf. But I had like 30-inch thighs at that time, had a 32-inch waist, a 60-inch chest, and 23.5-inch arm. And then when Woodbridge came into bodybuilding, the guy was Frank Zane. Frank Zane was his name. He brought what you call symmetry into bodybuilding. See, before Mike Wing, they would judge you on each body part. So they'd come out and they would judge you on best chest. Then they would judge you on best back. So everybody come out and do chest poses. Then they say, okay, they write down who got the best chest. Then everybody would do a back pose. Then they write down who got the best back. Then they had the best arm. In fact, superstar Billy Graham in the Mr. America contest, he won best arm in the Mr. America. And then they would do best legs. Then they would do most muscular. Most muscular. But not trying to blow my own horn. In every contest I entered, I won best arm, best chest, best back, and most muscular. So I had four, I won four divisions. So the only thing left was best legs and best abs. I had a contest. But then when Frank Zane came into bodybuilding, everything had to be symmetrical. So if you got 20-inch arms, you got to have at least 19 or 20-inch calves. If you had a 60-inch chest, you have to have 30-inch thighs. So the bottom had to match the top. Now, one of the guys that I thought, he did a little bodybuilding, but I thought he could have been Mr. Olympia if it had been for his wrestling career, was two guys. One who was big, powerful, but also symmetrical, of course, was the Ultimate Warrior. The Warrior upper body matches his lower body. And you look at Lex Luger. Lex Luger was another one. His upper body matches his lower body. Now, Albert Puskey had a great body, but if you ever met him in person, his leg was much bigger than his upper body. He didn't have the big arms to match his legs. You know, he had a great upper body, but his lower body was, his legs were like tractor tires. So he had like 21, 22-inch calves, but he had like a 16 or 17-inch bicep. So it didn't matter. Uh, Bodybuilding was hard to get into wrestling back if you was a bodybuilder, because there was a perception that if you had muscle, you was muscle bound. You couldn't move around the ring. You lose your flexibility. So a lot of the wrestlers, as me and Larry talked about on earlier shows, didn't do weight training. They did what they would call calisthenics. They did a lot of push-ups, a lot of free squats, a lot of setups, a lot of running, and they did pull-ups, a lot of pull-ups. And these were pretty much as close as you got to, but they didn't do resistance exercise because they believe if you lift weights, you can't move. But I found out that lift weights have nothing to do with your flexibility if you stretch while you lift it. As long as you stretching that muscle will get tight. In fact, then I'm a personal trainer here at the Auburn YMCA. I learned over the years that stretching is part of training. It's for circulation. So when you stretch a muscle out, that muscle pump a lot easier. You can really pump that muscle a lot easier if you got good circulation. Because what happens is when you're pumping a muscle up, muscle cell, as you pump the blood in, the muscle cell expand. You keep expanding until you get this maximum. Then once you get that maximum pump, you want to keep it there. You want to keep it right down that maximum pump. And it started to go down. And before it goes out, you pump it up again. After a while, the muscle will adjust. The muscle will adjust to what you're doing. And that's pretty much how bodybuilding works. There was a lot of guys that lift weights but didn't have the bodybuilding look, like Don Morocco. He had shoulders like cannonballs, big arms like tree trunks. But as you look, he wasn't defined because he lifted the weight but he didn't do the diet. Then you have wrestlers that did steroids that never gained muscle, like Roddy Piper. He did the steroids, but he never got no muscle. Jake did a little steroid, but it never got the muscle to go with it. Because I don't care what you take, protein powder, steroid, whatever you take, if you still have to do the work. You still have to do the work. What the steroid did was, if you're able to work out for 1 hour without getting tired, the steroid helped you to work out 2 hours without getting tired. So you're able to put in more work by using the steroid. And that was the difference. Which I'm not recommending anybody to do steroids. Back in my day, steroids were a lot safer. The reason they were safer, we didn't get them from some guy in the sitting in the locker room or sitting in the gym. We got out from a doctor. You know, doctor would check you, tell you what you should take, what you shouldn't take. They do your blood pressure. So you had to go through a checkup first before they would prescribe anything of that nature to you. The best way to build up is to do it naturally. Because the same thing it takes to get something, it takes the same thing to keep it. So if you use steroids to get big, as soon as you stop taking them steroids, everything you built will disappear within a couple of months. See, I didn't use steroids to get to develop. I use steroids for competition only. Now you're going to stay on the steroid for 1 month, but it takes a month for it to leave your system. So if I took steroid at the beginning of September, then and I stopped at the beginning of October, the whole month of October is still in my system. So even though I'm not taking the pill, I'm still on the juice. Now, if the steroids are in your body for 2 months, if they're in your system for 2 months, you have to lay off 4 months, 4 months, and to give your natural hormones to kick back in. So the way I did it was 2 months on, 4 months off, 2 months on, 4 months off. So I only took it 2 months out of a year.
4 months out of the year.
No, 2 months out of the year. It stays in your system 1 month.
I get
Only
you.
took the
I
pill
get
2 months out of a year.
Okay.
Because the sucker month, it stays in your system
I get you.
30 days after you start taking it. It takes 30 days for your body to clear out. So even though you took it for 1 month, you are on the juice for two, even though you only took it for 1 month. So I want to take it 2 months out of a year. So for 10 months out of a year, Tony wasn't taking nothing. But I was on for 4 months, even though I only took it for 2 months. Because it stays in your system a month after you start. Now you have to lay off twice the amount of time that you was on. So if you're in your system for 2 months, you have to let your system stay clean for 4 months. That way you don't have any kidney problems. You don't have any, well, they call it steroid for a reason. You know what I'm trying to say? Because, your testicles will shrink, and because they're not producing, your body only produces what it needs. So if your body don't need something, it won't produce it. You see? So that's why now, in my later years as a senior citizen, you know, I still got a little something going on here. Now, if I used the steroids to build up, wouldn't be able to maintain what I got. I stopped using the steroids in 1988. So how many years is that I've been off? 88. I stopped in
90
88.
would be 30, so 33 years.
33 years ago. I've been clean for 33 years before using the steroid. And the good thing about it, in the 90s, the early 90s, I set the main bench press record at 575, drug free. I did a lot of 500-pound benches, drug free. So everything from 1988 up until today was all drug free. And I feel good. I don't have any kidney problems, any heart problems, or any of that stuff. I mean, I don't look like I did back in the day or nothing. But right now, I can walk in the gym. I can bench press over 300 pounds right now today. My arms measure not no 23, but they're over 20 inches. My body weight, I'm 265, 275 pounds. I work out 4 days a week. So I don't miss it. But one of the things that kept me going for so many years was you fans. And when I go to the arena or something, and the fan look at me and say, "Oh, Tony, you look great. You keep yourself in great shape." A lot of times, I don't want to go to the gym. But then I would meet one wrestling fan. They would tell me a story about watching me wrestle Hulk Hogan or King Kong Bundy or wrestle with Jimmy Snooker or Rocket Soul Man Johnson. Then that say, Tony, you have to stay in shape, if not for you, for your family. You know? This picture up there, we were taken in 2006. That's 2006. So this is 15 years ago. And 15 years later,
Pretty good, my brother.
just 15 years later, nothing changed. I got a little bit more grayer, a little bit more uglier, you know. I think my look comes from getting kicked in the face there. In fact, where that shoe girl at, Larry?
It's over there.
Hey, young lady, I'm gonna get this young lady come and kick me in the face there a little bit more, brother. I'm gonna have me a good old hand. This is my Christmas present. Y'all may think I'm weird, y'all may think I'm crazy, and you know something? You're absolutely right. Because right now, I'm gonna get myself a little foot action going on here, and I don't want none of y'all criticize me because we all got something that we like. You may like something that I don't like, and I may like something that you don't like, or vice versa. But you know what Tony Adams like? CM Punk, all you guys always talk about my shoe fatty. This is the deal, baby. Look at that. Ain't that nice? This is going home. And what? Give it to me, girl. Boom, 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 boom. Ow! Larry, what do you think about it? Look at old Larry. He ain't seen nothing like it. See, that's what Larry need. Larry need a woman to throw him on the ground and stomp him in his face. He need a good face stomping. You know, every man out there, if you don't let your wife stomp you in the face, you weird. But I want to thank all you guys. And Monty, thank you for giving me this great show.
We still got 8 minutes, Tony.
We got 8 minutes left, but I want to tell y'all a story about Andre the Giant. I don't know if I told this story or not, but I just want to tell it anyway. Andre, when you talk about strength, just strength. I've never met anybody that strong. I mean, Mark Henry is the second strongest person I ever met. The second. Andre is the first. Andre didn't go to the gym. He didn't work out. He just was so big, so powerful, so strong. I seen Bill Eden at 275 pounds jump over the top rope. Andre catch him in the air, just like this. Just like this. Take him just like this. Throw him back in the ring.
Oh my God. Holy shit.
Catch him. He come over the top rope. Andre reach up and catch him. Bring him back like this. Throw him back in the ring. I see the guy scrape Andre's car. Andre get out of the car. The guy was stupid enough to pull over. Andre turned his car over. I seen Andre sitting in a Chinese restaurant. A guy keep messing with Andre. Andre eating his food. Not now, boss. Not now, boss. The guy keep messing with Andre. Hey, you don't look that tough. Andre do this, like you swatting a fly. Bam! Backhand the guy. Knocked him out. You ask anybody in the wrestling world who was the toughest wrestler the world ever saw. It was Andre the Giant. Now there was a story going around about Andre being afraid of Bad News Brown. Bad News Brown was like into martial arts and all this stuff. Well, this is in Japan, and Andre wouldn't come up to LA to fight him. So I asked Andre later why why didn't he fight the guy? Andre said, I do not want to go to jail in Japan. I do not want to go to jail in Japan. We live in the greatest country in the world. The greatest country in the world. When you're in another country, Like, for example, Bruiser Brody. If Bruiser Brody had got stabbed to death in Texas, the outcome would have been totally different. But in Puerto Rico, it's not the same as in America. Even though they say they're part of America, it's not the same. Japan is not the same as America. Not even Canada is the same as America. In fact, Canada, I believe, is a little bit stricter. Yeah, they're a little bit stricter. We were with, I was riding with Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy. Matt and Jeff Hardy. And Matt got stopped for speeding in Canada. They took his license. So he was out of, not from Canada. So what they do, they take your license. Now this guy's in Canada with a rental car, and he can't drive it. So you have to ride with our guy. We have to give him a ride. They didn't even take your license right on the spot. So there's a lot of stuff that we do here that you can't do it. Like, for example, you can come to America on a visa. On a visa to come to America. And let's say the visa say you can stay here for 2 months. Where 3 months go by, nobody say nothing. 4 months go by, nobody say nothing. 5 months go by, nobody say nothing. A year could go by, 5 years go by, 10 years go by. Nobody coming to check on you. I was in Japan and I stayed 1 day too long. They come looking for me. They come looking for you the next day, brother. Everybody don't have no illegal in these countries because the laws there. We got good laws here, but I don't think we enforce them.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think you America really want them to really enforce these laws. They got laws on the book, but our government is a lot lenient. A lot lenient. Like in Russia, they always talk about police brutality and stuff like that. Man, in Russia, they would beat the crap out of you, throw you in the back seat of the car, and you can't say nothing. I've been to countries like that where they would just drag your butt out. I was in Cairo, Egypt, and all the wrestlers would go to Egypt. The promoter would keep the passport. They do that so the wrestler can't separate in Cairo, Egypt. Well, I went shopping, and we'll come out there. They have roadblocks, just random roadblocks. There don't have to be no reason. They just do roadblocks. So they stopped. I don't have my passport. The first thing they did, put a gun to my head, tell me to get on the ground. I laid on the ground, and the other guy that was taking us around, he had to go all the way to the hotel, get my passport, come all the way back to prove who I was. Otherwise, they weren't gonna let me go.
Wow.
In Japan, when I lost my passport, I had to I got my passport. They want to give me my passport the day before you leave it. So I got it the day before, but I'm leaving the next day. But they held me up. I couldn't get on the plane. They had to check all that out.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Here, hey, you got your passport? Go ahead. So we get away with we got a lot more freedom than what we think. I always look back about what if Tony Atlas was born somewhere other than America? Grown up in a one shack in the freaking hills of the Allegheny Mountains, with cover of poor background, and to make it to WWE Hall of Fame. I believe, I could be wrong, that only happened in America. That only happened in America. So me being Mr. USA, I'm very proud of being Mr. USA. I'm very proud of being an American. I'm glad that I got the right to vote. Everybody's equal now. In my opinion, there's only two things in the world: good and evil.
Go, brother.
There's no Republican, no Democrat, no blacks, no whites, no females, no males. We all Americans. We all got the same right, the same opportunity. My success in life I owe to thousands and thousands and thousands of people. My failure in life I owe only to myself.
One final thing before we leave. Once again, thanks for having us at Celebrations. There's Tony and his best friend there. Thanks again for having us here at the Ramada Inn. It was a great time. Thank you to everybody that showed up, said hi along the way. This is my friend Tony.
Cool.
Master Clucci.
Coochie.
There you go. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you at the matches when wrestling was real.